Okay, so getting back into our coverage over the X-Men, we're going to pick up with technically another Excalibur book, but like it's not Excalibur. It's the idea of Colossus getting his own solo book. Yes, you heard that right. You see, in the 1990s, when it came to Marvel Comics, they were really big on the idea of giving all these different X characters different books as a way to expand the brand of the X-Men. You had Deadpool books, Gambit, Beast. They all had different types of books out there in the 1990s. But in the late 1990s, as we all know, for Colossus, he was part of Excalibur. So it kind of did make sense to go ahead and give him his own book, even though it was only a one shot. But it does kind of tie into the overall storyline that was being told around his time in Excalibur comics. Now, for Colossus, he's not alone in this solo book. It's him and the character known as Megan. Now, this storyline does take place right after the idea where you had Captain Britain leave the team. And so, with him being gone, it was kind of a different take for Excalibur, but it's also the idea that you had Colossus and also Megan kind of go their separate ways from the rest of the Excalibur team to kind of get a small vacation. Now, it's not like, hey, it's the two characters right now going out on some kind of vacation as a date or some kind of bonding process that could possibly lead into a relationship, but it's the idea of Colossus just trying to be a good friend to Megan by taking her out. Now, I'm not gonna lie though, because the opening pages of the storyline at first kind of had me believing like, it does kind of seem like the two characters could possibly end up with one another, but at the same time, we really can't tell with this one shot. But while you do have the two characters out there with one another, they don't realize that currently they're being watched by somebody. Now, we're going to find out like very soon who is currently watching over our two characters, but for right now, it's kind of like, hey, why in the world is somebody trying to hunt down Colossus, but also Megan as well? But either way, for the two characters, they came over to this particular area for an amusement park. Now, before you do have the two characters head there, they head over to this museum. And I kind of like this because for Colossus, he is a great artist. Like he loves the idea of painting different kinds of things that goes on in his life or around the world. He loves the idea of kind of showing off his artwork. He loves artwork. And so to see him right now in this museum, but also kind of expressing what he feels like when he looks at a painting and seeing Megan being able to connect with him is kind of cool. Now, again, we could say like, hey, they're just friends, but at the same time, it could be the possibility of these two characters building a bond with one another. Now, once you do have the two characters finish at the museum, you then have the two characters head over to this amusement park. Now, when they do arrive at this amusement park, at first it does seem like it's going to be a good time, except the problem is it's closed down for a very long time for, improvements. Now, for Megan, the reason why these two characters came to this city was for this amusement park. So the idea of it being closed really does bother her a lot. She's very upset by it, but you do have Colossus trying his best to cheer her up. Now, while you do have the two characters go over to a nearby diner, well, that is when you have Colossus be confronted by Elizabeth Wilford. Now, this is a character we have not seen in a very long time. Matter of fact, I want to say, like, when it came to my early days on YouTube, when I sat down to the early days of Chris Claremont's run on Uncanny X-Men, was the last time I had officially talked about her. But when it comes to Elizabeth, she was the roommate to a character known as Amanda, who was part of Excalibur, but also like the girlfriend to Nightcrawler. But for Elizabeth and also Colossus, for a brief moment, they kind of had this thing going for them. Like I said, for a brief moment, but they have not seen one another since that brief moment. And so for Elizabeth, what she sees right now is Colossus with Megan and kind of wondering if the two characters are together. Now, for Colossus, he tells her, no, we're just two friends here on a trip together. Now, once you do have Elizabeth go out of her way to give Megan a handshake, there was some kind of poison on Elizabeth's hand where, of course, it does knock out Megan. Now, for Colossus, he begins to freak out instantly here. Now, for Colossus, he does freak out here for a very good reason, but also for Colossus, he's kind of in luck here because out of nowhere, an ambulance does appear to take Megan away. Now, you do have this Elizabeth person go out of their way to kiss Colossus. Now, when they do kiss, that's when you have Colossus realize that he has been tricked. But on top of that, this is not Elizabeth. But also that kiss on her lips, there was poison. So that poison right now is affecting Colossus. But by the time you have Colossus realize what's going on here at the moment, unfortunately, he's knocked out. Now, we do learn here, yeah, it's not Elizabeth. It's a character known as Miss Locke. And thing is, if you see Miss Locke, you already know who she's with at the moment. And that would be the character known as Arcade. Now, when it comes to Arcade, we have talked about this character so much when it comes to our coverage over the X-Men. It's the idea that he's an assassin, but a very interesting type of an assassin, where you have Arcade go out of his way to build this amusement park where he basically tries to kill you inside these different kinds of amusement parks. And so for Arcade, if he's here, then most likely his goal is to kill off Colossus and also kill off Megan. But the question is now, why? And also, who hired him? And really, when it comes to Arcade, it has not taken that long to begin the process of playing mind games on Colossus, because once you do have Colossus wake up and look around the area, you have Colossus realize that he's now with the Acolytes. Now, this is a callback to the early days, really the early 1990s for X-Men comics, where in Fatal Attractions for Colossus, at that point, the dude had lost his entire family. His brother, his sister, his mom, his dad, they all were killed off in like a 2-year period of X-Men comics. And so for Colossus, at that point in Fatal Attractions, he was at his lowest. And so you had Colossus leave the X-Men and actually join Magneto in his Acolytes. Now, for the Acolytes, they were this group of people who praised Magneto like he was some kind of god. And so for Colossus, he was part of the Acolytes, but then he realized that was a mistake. And so when he wakes up, he's confronted by the Acolytes, but he also kind of realized this makes no sense because for the Acolytes right now, it seems like they're back on Avalon, the space base that Magneto had back in the early 1990s that was blown up. And so for Colossus, once he does see Megan out in space, quote unquote space there, and grabs her, he's then teleported back to his home, the home where his family was living at. But of course, this is a reminder to the idea that for Colossus, well, his family's dead. And so he does rush into the building hoping to save his family. But at the same time, this is a trick. Now, while he does that, Megan also wakes up. And when she wakes up, she realizes what Colossus is currently doing at the moment, trying to, well, do something big inside that building. She does not have the idea that it's Colossus right now trying to save his family. Now, once you do have Megan go inside the burning building, she does find Colossus, but not the Colossus that she knows of. You see, Colossus is right now supposedly the proletarian. Now, this was a form of Colossus once again from the early days of Uncanny X-Men, where you had Chris Claremont working on the X-Men. It was the idea that you had Arcade back then bring Colossus to be this person who loves Russia so much, but from the working class. Now, when it comes to Megan, she's very confused about what's happening at the moment, but you didn't have the real Colossus appear to fight against his robot self. But once you have our Colossus being able to defeat this fake Colossus, you did have Colossus realize who's behind everything. We already know who, but for Colossus, he now knows it's Arcade. Now we do learn that for Colossus, that technically he was in this virtual reality. So once you had Colossus being able to break free from that, you then have Colossus be confronted by Arcade. Now, here's the thing though, because when he is confronted by Arcade, you have Arcade say, hey, listen, the reason why I kidnapped you and also Megan here is because I need you to kill me. Now, it's not really him asking Colossus to officially kill him off, but to pretend to kill him off. Because whoever hired Arcade is not going to let him go until he's able to deliver Colossus and also Megan to them, but officially dead. And for Arcade, he does not want to kill them at all. But if Arcade does not kill Colossus or kill Megan, then yeah, he will die then. And so it's him saying, I need your help. But it's also Arcade reminding us that, hey, let's not forget that Colossus did kill off two people. You had Proteus, the son to Moira Tagger, and you also had one of the Marauders back in the Mutant Massacre, and that one was really brutal. He just snapped the guy's neck. But either way, it's him saying, like, dude, come on now. Like, first off, we're just pretending here that you do kill me, but also like you killed in the past. So what is the quote unquote issue here at the moment? And so as we fast forward to the idea of us now picking up with Colossus and Megan, they're kind of going through the plan of Arcade. Now for Megan, she has no idea what's going on. Like matter of fact, there's a whole scene where you do have Colossus not really trying to bring down Arcade or kind of put himself out there. And you have Megan being very confused because when she wakes up, they're in the middle of a whole like fake battle where it's Colossus and also Arcade battling against one another, but also like is Colossus letting loose, quotation marks around that. And so by the end of this section, when you do have Colossus being able to quote unquote kill off Arcade, but not really, you have Megan get very upset. And honestly, I don't blame her. It's kind of like, hey, listen, why in the world did you not tell me that we're pretending to kill off this man? Now, technically for Colossus, the dude did not have the time to sit her down and be like, hey, listen, so here's a game plan and this is how everything is going to go down. But on top of that, also for Colossus, they kind of got thrown right in the middle of the whole situation. But either way, you do have Colossus quote unquote kill Arcade, but not really. And you also have Megan realize what's going on here. But once you have the entire group being able to regroup, you did have Arcade tell Colossus and also Megan, like, who's behind everything? It's the idea of Black Air. Now, we have talked before about Black Air in the past. When it comes to Black Air, they are this organization that was working for the UK government. And matter of fact, originally, they were just used to replace the WHO organization, the Weird Happening organization. But then later on, we had learned that when it came to Black Air, they were also working with the Hellfire Club, but with the London branch. And when it came to the Hellfire Club and the London branch, they were trying to work together as a way to control the government to have their own plans be pulled off when it comes to controlling the world, but starting off with just the UK. Now, you also had them try to release this powerful demon back in issue number 100. Now, for me personally, the overall storyline was pretty cool, but I kind of hate that issue a tad bit. And the reason why, because it kind of felt like issue number 100 was supposed to be part of the whole Onslaught event, but it wasn't. It got left out. But either way, you had Excalibur being able to bring down Black Air and kind of have them be removed from the UK government's control completely and no longer being able to overthrow the UK government. And so it does seem like right now the Black Air organization is trying to get their payback against our heroes in all different types of ways. Because in the storyline prior to this one, you had Pete Wisdom and Nightcrawler get attacked by Black Air as well. Now, getting into the final part of this storyline, we do pick up with Colossus and also Megan getting a free ride from Arcade to get away from Black Air because Black Air was still technically following them and wanted to, well, kill off Colossus and also Megan. Now, when it comes to Miss Locke, I do want to say this right here. Miss Locke died a long time ago. And so what you're seeing right now is not Miss Locke. It's an android that is pretending to be Miss Locke. The original Miss Locke died a while ago by the hands of, well, Arcade. And so you have this android just pretending to be her. But either way, you do have all four characters get on a boat and leave the docks. Except right after they leave the docks, we see black air was going to surround the entire area, which again ties into what's happening around this time over in Excalibur Comics. But this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.